Hi guys, Marvel Steven, and today, as promised, we'll be watching the multiplayer review live stream. Okay. Boy. All right. Okay, so we got in the part of the video. There's 9 minutes. I want to hear this. So, I don't know what's going on. What's going on my computer? Let me look at my phone a minute. Here, guys. Let me try this little tiny headset. Maybe it'll work, I don't know. I mean, it's true, I guess. Very nice. Sound yet. Just thought about that. There ain't no sound yet. It hasn't. This point of the video, it hasn't started yet, so. I mean, I'm hyped to see it just because I haven't watched any other people that streamed it, so I'm interested to see what the multiplayer mode's like. I seen the 2v2 fight. That looked pretty sick. Maybe they add that in. Maybe too, there'll be some more information about maybe a beta. I was sure heck I love a beta. I'd play the crap out of that, boys. You already know. Okay. I guess give it a couple minutes. 6 minutes, boys. We'll see all the action. You know what? I was doing that, boys. Just realized something. There we go. That's better for this video. There we go. Looks like the chat's going crazy. Something good must be happening. Call of Duty website. Oh crap, my phone just died. I have to find a charger in 5 minutes. Oh man. Alright. I'm just so hyped right now. see what it looks like. Um, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I don't know. Maybe later I'll bring like a second video after we watch this reveal of maybe the new season of Fortnite, Season X. That's something I want to check out too. Some pretty epic changes in the game. I don't know though, I might not be able to get the battle pass for a couple of days until I get some moolah. So yeah, guys, and countdown is real right now, 3 minutes. I think while that's going on, boy, then I'm trying to find my charger. Oh, saw that on stream. My bad, dudes. Sorry. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, boys. I don't know who's all hyped. I know I am. Love whenever these games come around. Every year. Oh boy. Yeah, sorry it wasn't right on the dot earlier, 1 o'clock. Set my alarm, but for some reason it didn't go off, so I slept in late. So sorry about the stream being so late. But we're still gonna get to see. I don't know, probably some of you out there watching this probably already have seen the reveal. I've already seen other people play it, but I haven't seen nothing yet, so curious to see what the gameplay looks like. I'll try not to talk like whenever it actually comes on. I can't wait till October whenever this game comes out. That'll be lit. One minute, boys. 1 minute. That's 50 seconds. Oh my gosh. This thing's got me hyped. Sorry about that, boys, but what's going on with my nose? Less than 30 seconds. Ooh. Here we go. Here's the countdown. Wait for it. Once we get to 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here we go, boys. Hope you're lit. Can't hear nothing right now. Oh. Oh.
Going dark.
Contact 3 o'clock!
Recon out! Contact! Target locked.
Rifle 1-1 on approach. Multiple targets sighted. Raining fire.
Oh, man. October 25th.
Pre-order and get early access to the open beta.
September 12th.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Call of Duty
There you
Modern
have it.
Warfare
PS4.
multiplayer gameplay premiere. I will be your host, Clint Maven Evans, and joining me for this spectacular
Happy to be
day,
there, boys.
Benson Bo. Buddy, that trailer. Wow.
Wow, there was so much action in that trailer. I'm sure this is the first time I've actually got to watch
Yeah.
the whole thing. That is awesome, and I'm not sure if you caught it right at the very end. The card, open beta as well. I'm so excited. We've obviously played it a little bit, but now we get to actually jump in and play so much. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, our lives are going to cease to exist for a good amount of time during that beta for sure. And then also one of the things to hit, like the beta is coming, and there's been talk of crossplay coming into this, but that's actually going to be available for the beta, Ben.
I can't wait for that. You're going to have console to console, console to PC, everything right at your fingertips for open beta. I couldn't be more excited.
This is going to be incredible. Now, Ben and I are going to be breaking down a lot of the action today, but we're going to have a lot of people in here with us going through it all. And to kind of start it off, we've got some of the members from the Infinity Ward team. We've got Jeffrey Smith. We've got Joe Seacott. Gentlemen, how you doing?
We're doing great. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm excited. Thank you so much. This is going to be awesome. So I'm going to cover. Before we get into the gameplay, and we've got a lot of stuff to bring you, I kind of want to get into the basics of the philosophies behind Modern Warfare. So obviously this was a tough task, right? You're going with one of the most famous FPS games in the history of video games, and you guys are reimagining it. Jeff, how difficult was that just to get started?
Yeah, it was a big thing to get over your head. So just as single player, I kind of thought of it as a reimagining. We took it as kind of this mental exercise of thinking of it as making a whole new game. And kind of stripping stuff down and really questioning everything. But we really had this phrase called fresh but familiar. how much stuff do you take from past previous games and how much stuff do you make all new, right? And if you go with the old stuff, it's just going to feel like a remastered maybe. But if you just make new stuff, you're not going to have that DNA and the nostalgia that fans have.
Yeah. I will say the Modern Warfare name, to many Call of Duty fans, I mean, that's a historic one, right? Is there any pressure internally when you decided that this was going to be the name of the game where you're like, well, that's a lot to live up for?
Yeah, there was a lot of anxiety early on.
Little pressure.
Small amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've done it.
You've done it. I've played the game.
Not a lot of sleep, I'm sure, in the ramp up to this.
Yeah.
It's finally time. And one of the big things that you'll note as well from the trailer, boots on the ground, a phrase which means a lot to Call of Duty fans.
Yeah, I mean, we set out to make a legitimate military shooter right from day one, but we also wanted it to be fun, right? Our game's still really fluid. You can still slide and shoot. Our mantle is super fast. Like, the game just feels really good to play. We're really happy with how it turned out.
Love that.
And this is, you mentioned, not being a remaster. This is a reimagined experience.
Yes.
Jeff, can you kind of talk to me about what that entails, reimagining this for a new generation of gamers?
Well, it's like I said, you're taking old stuff, you're taking new stuff, and you could maybe say this is like a love letter to Modern Warfare.
I like that.
We've sampled stuff from all the different past games. We kind of put little Easter eggs in, and from systems to map stuff to weapons. We really try to cover all the kind of favorite stuff.
Well, how difficult of a balancing act, I guess, is that? Pleasing fans that maybe grew up with this. It was their childhood favorite game in which they put thousands of hours in, and then the new generation, which maybe isn't as familiar with the title, and trying to appeal to the new gamers. It's got to be tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a line we had to toe as we were making this. Is it infinite sprint? Is it cooldown sprint? Is it how far does the slide?
You probably have a million little conversations like that.
So many little things, and how do you kind of know where you're going to go? So.
Yeah. One of the keys for me is the map design, right? That's something that you kind of touched on a little bit there, but from my experience playing, you've done such a good job of having the close quarter fights, but as well, if you're a fan of sniping, you can still have those long range fights. How hard has that been, just getting the maps themselves?
That's going to let Jeff handle that one.
He's the map guy.
Well, it's tricky. I think, we always make maps that we try to support every playstyle. We have all these guns, and we want to make sure that there's a place for snipers, there's a place for close quarters.
That's not one map.
But in recent games, the titles have been more kind of arena shooter-ish. So you can kind of rely on these kind of symmetrical three-lane maps. But when we're trying to make a realistic environment, and you take that realistic environment and you put it on this kind of symmetrical layout, the brain just kind of rejects it and doesn't really feel real. So for us, it's more about freestanding buildings, kind of, and the power positions that those create. And this actually kind of is very similar to how real military moves through places. They take a key location, and it's usually on a crossroad, and it has these sight lines that gives them an advantage. So that's how we kind of, it's kind of the backbone to all these maps, and it's really the way TDM actually would work well, because there's no really objective. But once that guy on a third story, pops you, you have a goal in life. You want to go get him, and so we've really built a lot of mechanics around those freestanding buildings.
Secret TDM right there.
Yeah.
And do you think, I guess, with this kind of the way you've been looking to design these maps, a lot of talk about the variety of gameplay you're trying to bring to this experience of Modern Warfare. Has that allowed you to reach kind of new heights when you just speak to a variety of gunfights, a variety of action within these maps?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can even look at our maps from a scale standpoint, where we have the gunfight maps, and then we go all the way up to larger player scales. You're going to be playing 20v20 today in one of our battle maps.
Holy hell!
Yeah, and then and then we have a bunch of new mechanics in there, but we also have new ways to play. Right? We have the night vision gameplay you saw in the trailer, and that's just a completely different way to engage with Call of Duty. Right? Everyone has night vision goggles. They have infrared lasers that they aim with, but anyone else in a night vision goggle set in nods can see that laser. And so you have this cat and mouse gameplay, and we've had a bunch of things in the game that really freshen up the Call of Duty experience.
I'm kind of curious, just from the developer standpoint, because as fans and viewers, you don't see it as much, and we don't either from your brains. But when you have a franchise that's been along as long as Call of Duty, and it feels like you've tried so many different things, what's the process like to try and find those new tidbits where you can still surprise people?
It's really interesting at the beginning. I have that feeling at the end of each game where I'm like, okay, we put everything into this. What the hell do we do next?
Yeah, what do you do next?
But we draw. I mean, this game we had the opportunity to draw from real military and things that they would do, and that is where like the night vision gameplay stuff came from, and the doors and things like that. We have a big, I guess, a suite of functionality for doors and how you interact with them that really changes up the flow. And you think about it, it's just a door.
But I also think that, when you have a franchise that's been around this long, you gotta have so much features and mechanics up in the attic. That was the kind of point of us trying to strip stuff down and really question the stuff that we were putting into it. So every single thing we put into the game, we really looked at, analyzed, tried to make better, or make a better version of that stuff, just to kind of force us to get away from preconceived notions of what Modern Warfare is or Call of Duty is, and just spark new ideas.
And we had a goal with every change we made. We talked about, like, we wanted to add more depth and replayability to each firefight, and that's kind of how we look at each change that we put into the game.
That makes sense. And obviously, when you have a franchise that's been around for so long, you have fan favorite weapons, I'm sure, and it's maybe some new weapons. And that's the one thing from the trailer and playing. There's a lot of variety, a lot of unique different weapons in the game.
Yeah, we have a bunch of classic guns. We have a bunch of new ones, like standard issue guns that are the military is using now, and that's how we stay relatable, modern, authentic. And we'll dig into it in a little bit with the gunsmith stuff, but we also stripped our weapon systems down completely, how we do recoil, how we do bullet travel through the world, and to add more
Real
depth.
projectiles?
Yeah, we added projectiles to our guns. And we did it in a way that in close quarters it still feels like Call of Duty, feels really tight, but then when we have our big battle maps and you have these long-range engagements, there's this new layer of depth of, like, do I have to lead my target a little bit? What caliber weapon am I using? Is it going to penetrate this surface? And so I feel like we've really elevated Modern Warfare.
Well, when it comes to the weapons, and one of the key things I think with any Call of Duty title is kind of the progression, right? As you unlock different attachments, whatever it might be. How is this going to work? Because one of the things that's been highlighted a lot has been how it all kind of works together, right? This unified progression. Joe, can you speak to that within Modern Warfare?
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to, what was the saying that our creative director said? Like, we have people. Continuity and consistency was one, right? We wanted, the guns that we were using in the campaign to feel just like they did in multiplayer and in Spec Ops. And then when you're talking about progression, we didn't want, people to be like, I'm a Spec Ops player, or I'm a multiplayer, MP player, or I'm a campaign player. We wanted you to be a Modern Warfare player. And so when you're playing with your weapons in Spec Ops and you're actually progressing through Gunsmith and unlocking attachments, that correlates or translates right back over into
That's very cool.
multiplayer.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool.
I like that a lot. And it's worth mentioning as well, one thing that we found out yesterday, there's no season pass this year. How is that going to work?
It's going to work great. Everyone's going to
It's going to be awesome.
I like that.
Well, that's the big thing, right? Everybody, in previous games, you've kind of gotten the map pack here, and he's gotten the other one.
Right,
everybody
right.
just starts kind of deviating.
Yeah.
We want to keep everybody together. We want that content to be there for everybody, and continue it on through seasons as we go.
And when you say that for everyone, you mean free.
Yeah.
It's completely free.
Free content.
Yes.
I like that.
Free.
For everyone.
Free for everybody. That is awesome.
No, that is fantastic to hear. But no, it's been fantastic. You guys aren't off the hook quite yet. It's been great kind of diving into the high-level philosophies of stuff, but to kind of show more of the in-game and how stuff's going to play out, we want to get into creative class. I'm going to introduce Ashton Williams. She's going to be with us from Infinity Ward as well. Ashton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super. I am doing absolutely fantastic today. I'm very excited for a glorious day at Modern Warfare.
I mean, I'm surrounded by streamers. I got Doc to my right over here.
Hey,
We're
Doc.
showing multiplayer.
You've got Courage close to you, though, and he's one of the loudest human beings on the planet, so I'm hoping that you're going to be able to get through. Hey, Jack, what's up, buddy? I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put him up front. I thought he'd be like in the back pocket, like out deep.
We're going to hear him all today. But Ashton, I want to get to business. Obviously, the creative class system, the operators, I think that's the first thing you have to decide, right?
Yes, I mean, the operators are purely to make you feel like a badass when you get into the game. So when you first load up, you'll see we've got back to the factions. So we've got the Coalition, respectively, on the west and the Allegiance on the east. And so you can kind of see my default kind of strike team here. And as you go in and actually select your operator, you can get a little... And this, I mean, obviously we have some stuff locked here, but I'm gonna roll it.
That guy looks like a badass.
D-Day.
They all look pretty badass. I like Zane personally.
Yeah. So my two favorites, Zane.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's got a tactical poncho.
Is that what that's called?
That's the, yeah. Before I get yelled at by Joel, it's not a cape.
It's not a cape.
It's not a cape.
Not a cape. Tactical poncho. But moving forward from operators, the actual creator class system. This is where things get really, really interesting to me, because the first thing to note, pick 10 is no more.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to keep it simple, and as Jeff said, we wanted to kind of move our complexity into gunsmith and keep the front, like, if you want to have a tactical, you always have a tactical, you always have a lethal, you're always ready for that.
Yeah, we're just trying to pick where the complexity is, and so we're not asking too much of the player. And we want them to kind of really dig into the weapon and focus on that. So.
Well, where a lot of the customizable options comes is the gunsmith, and Ashton's going to hop in there for us. So this is new, and this is wild, and this is awesome. Can you guys kind of talk to me about what is special and very cool about the new gunsmith feature?
Well, I mean, early on, we really kind of decided that, or realized that your weapon is the main character in MP, and it's what you use to interact with our world. And so we kind of just put all our chips in on this system. We had to convince the studio of this crazy endeavor, and we're averaging 30 to 60 attachments per weapon.
Yeah.
The 30 is on the pistols. It's a little harder to scrape by with some with all these attachments, but you just use the weapon and they unlock. And
to clarify, for example, if you were to pick the AK-47, right, you can change that. Like, for example, you take the stock away, all of a sudden you have the AK-74U.
Actually, you can do a caliber change, short barrel, and get the AK-74U, and then you can actually do a drum mag, long barrel, muzzle brake, like ACOG, and make more of an RPD. Like, you can really, like, the guns are really flexible.
Well, Ashton, what have you been building over there? What's your go-to?
I mean, I'm an AK player, or an AR player. I mean, we do have an AK on here. So I'm just making kind of a newbie class.
Ashton, jump to that pistol that you have on that loadout, and then go into gunsmith and then toggle it so we can rotate it around.
Oh, there it is.
This is the sexy shot.
Yeah.
And one thing as well that I'm not sure if people at home actually caught, but you actually have perks on the guns as well now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's kind of we kind of wanted a little get out of jail free card where we didn't have to put a physical attachment on everything, but you'll find a lot of like fire select stuff in there, caliber changes. And
yeah, things that we don't want to make something up, right? Like, here's this knob on the side of the gun and it does this. So we wanted to have some things that were functional that weren't represented, but everything else, all the other slots, every piece is there, and we actually built all of the functionality based on real life, how it would affect the gun.
I feel like I'm going to be like Tony Stark at Destiny. The stuff that it looks like I'm going to be able to do with this, like just endless hours of customizing and finding the best setup, what you really like to use. It's sensational stuff. But I do want to chat then a little bit kind of about tacticals and lethals. So you mentioned when it was going away from the pick 10, one of the core things you wanted here was to make sure you had that lethal and tactical. We'll start off in the lethal side of things. It looks like mostly fan favorites from the overall series.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Thermite's a new one. Yeah, the Thermite's a good one because we have vehicles in the play space, right? You saw in the trailer we have that light tank, and like the Thermite's great. It's a fun tool. Throws kind of like a throwing knife.
That looked painful.
And it sticks, but it burns right through vehicles, so it's a great counter to that.
Try to land one on a chopper that flies by.
Yeah.
you said that with a smile, like you've done that.
You can.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And then moving forward towards tacticals, I know you have a fan favorite one here. It's what the snapshot grenade. How do you even come up with this idea of a snapshot grenade?
This was a funny story. It's actually my son got a toy. It was like a little ball, disco ball with a stick and 2 blades, and it actually will sense the ground and not land, so it just kind of floats there. I actually the next morning ran and kind of snuck in and did a tactical door breaching. We'll talk about it. I threw it into Joel's office, freaked him out, and said, "Hey, let's do this." And so it actually goes in, it flies up, and kind of takes a snapshot of the room.
Okay.
And does thermal imaging.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an evolution of the concussion grenade giving you those hit markers.
Yeah.
So it just gives you that quick read.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And then what do we have as well? Let's talk about the perks. So perks are obviously back in the game. You talked about perks on weapons. This will be more of your standard perks. And double time, one of the new ones, because there's some changes right to the sprint options within Modern Warfare, correct?
Yeah. So what double time does? Yeah, there is a big change. Double time. Early on we were like, do we do unlimited sprint? Do we do sprint with a cooldown? And in the end, we ended up with unlimited sprint. Feels good. It's user friendly. But we still wanted that kind of like tactical boost, that way to get from one piece of cover to another really, really fast. And so we added a thing called tactical sprint. Okay. And if you're moving forward and you click the stick twice, your gun actually comes up to signify that you're not engaging in combat. You're just sprinting, and allows you to move really fast for a short amount of time. And then
it's a risk reward, right?
It's actually the oh shit button.
Yeah.
Gotta go fast. Just run away. But kind of moving forward from perks, the thing that excites me the most, kill streaks.
Yes.
They have returned for Modern Warfare, and there's a whole different host of them here, and some of them very, very exciting. Of course, the Juggernaut we saw in the trailer.
Yes.
That is badass. And I think you guys in rehearsal were telling me that there's like music that plays as well when you're in the Juggernaut suit?
Yeah, so when you get the Juggernaut suit, you hear metal music in your ears.
Just cool.
And it's just like,
that's just cool.
Such a fun kill streak. It's just your moment to just be like, F you, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why I love the kill streaks were back. Like, when I get on COD, I want to go in, I want to dominate. It's about me dropping stats, dropping numbers, earning streaks, and This is one that'll be fun.
There's actually a funny thing. This actually plays in 3D space, so
Yeah.
it'll sound like somebody's listening to like music out of headphones.
Yeah.
So you actually
that's
be able
cool.
to hear like the music coming out.
That's so cool. I love that. And then the other one as well that we wanted to touch on was we saw it again in the trailer. Is like the tank.
Yeah, the light tank, the IAV. And this was another thing we pushed for to get kill streaks into the play space, and this is a cooperative kill streak. So one player mans the tank and the main cannon, and another player's up on top manning the 50 cal.
Okay, so you need
And
your
some of our
teammates
bigger
to be
maps you can play
These
this.
are only on some of the maps, and if you have it equipped, then we on a smaller map we'll swap you out with a smaller one we call the Wheelson.
Yeah.
That one's really scary.
I like the big one the best.
Yeah.
And the trailer that did some serious work in it.
You like to go big, Ben?
Absolutely, of course, man. You know that.
Oh, I'm going to dominate on this game. I've got a feeling. That is going to be so fun. But all right, it's been very cool to have Ashton kind of showing us through the actual setup of it, but I'd love to actually hop into a game if we could and talk through some of the action, some of the new features within the actual game. I believe we're going to be hopping into headquarters is what we're going to start things off with.
It returns!
Yes,
you
it
brought
does.
headquarters back!
Yeah.
Well, with all this work in the kind of freestanding buildings, you know, and we'll talk about it in some mechanics. We have all these doors and stuff. Being able to defend a interior space gives us that kind of Black Hawk Down, last man standing, because with headquarters, of course, the defending team doesn't respawn. So it's down to we show you how many are left, and it gets really high tension.
Before we dive too much into the new tactics and elements in the game, can we just talk about how goddamn beautiful it is? I mean, the big push before this, you know, it's a new engine, right? Can you kind of talk me through what goes into that? Like, what is going to stand out to the new player that gets Modern Warfare?
I mean, we use a new technique called photogrammetry, and what we do is a lot of the art in our game is actually scanned, 3D scanned from real-world objects. We go like our.
You keep bringing me closer to Tony Stark stuff every time you come up with these things.
It's crazy. The whole process has changed, right? Like artists would sit in a room and they'd art a character, but now we have whole, I guess, wardrobes that people wear, and like people drive along the road and they find like a burnout car and they're like, "We found it. This is awesome. Come here, bring the cameras."
Yeah,
that's so
seriously,
cool.
Yeah, we'll take gear and we'll actually throw it in a pool for a while, so it gets like worn and beat up, and then we'll scan it so it looks more grounded and real.
Yeah.
Wow. And a lot of that did it go into, you know, we touched on a little bit earlier, like the realistic environments. Was that part of the process as well, or how did you guys get in to make these look so realistic and so awesome?
Yeah, it's actually scanning real world things. We scanned old burnt out cars, these little rubble piles, and we kind of have to work that in. And it was actually a big task for the art department to kind of have
I bet it was,
new workflow.
Hey, we got all these pictures. You guys are now have to create all of this.
Yeah. So that took a little while for us to kind of get up and kind of used to that system and really get rolling.
Game looks, as maybe said, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, Ashton, come on.
One of the things that I do want to
Ashton, your job's on the line here, just FYI.
Way to put pressure on her here, Maven.
Well, I'm just letting her know she won't have a job anymore.
On the fly modifications, you can, I believe, what is it? When you die, you can actually go to where you're picking your class and modify things right there and then.
Yep, you can edit in the game, all in game. And
there we go, Ashton.
It will actually swap out next time you die.
Okay.
You can swap out any weapons. Early on, we were kind of unlocking attachments really fast.
Right.
And we found it really fun to just unlock a new attachment, put it on, and go.
I was going to ask where that came from, kind of that idea, like where that started.
It was just we ramped up the earn rate on attachments, and we just kind of wanted to test it in game, and it just was this kind of cool, like I can hot swap things out.
It feels like there's just like a weapon playground now, like between the gunspace and the game, like it's nuts.
Well, one thing we didn't mention when we we're going through the creative classes is field orders. And I saw Ashton actually got the field orders.
Field upgrades.
Field upgrades, yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what they are and how you came to bringing that into the game?
Sure, go.
Yeah, so we like the idea of a reward that players got kind of regularly, but we didn't want it to be like this kind of like I win button. Like, okay, it's super weapon clock.
I got this.
And so
I win now.
We looked for things that would help players support their team for the most part. It's not true for everything, but we have like the tactical cover.
Okay.
We have the trophy system. The tactical cover you can actually mount on with our new mount mechanic. So you can mount on the top of cover. The side gives you a significant recoil bonus. And then we actually, at the beginning of the game, we let you have one field upgrade, right? And you start working through them, and you have that field upgrade, you get to use it. And then at the end, we unlocked a pro functionality for that lets you bring in two. And so in the moment, in the match, you get to choose between these two. And so you might have an offensive field upgrade, like say a scout drone that goes up and actually scouts for your team to scout an objective, or you might have a trophy system. And so in the moment, you're like, I'm in headquarters. Am I defending a point or assaulting a point? Let me choose.
It gives you that variation dependent on what's happening.
Yeah, and tactical insertion has returned.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's also on a cooldown in there. Yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff. Funny little trick. If your buddy, and this takes teamwork, if your buddy puts out a recon drone, you can throw C4 on it.
Stop.
Yeah.
You can finish the rest of it.
Yeah. You can
That's awesome.
Put 2 and 2 together.
No, that sounds epic. And I'm
We
gonna
have
try
to get
that.
our chemistry.
Oh no! What's going to happen is I'm going to put the C4 on, and then you're going to fly it into me. and then-
Probably, and then we're both going to die.
Well, can we talk about some of
We'll
the maybe new combat mechanics that are going to be within this? There's different stuff you talked about. I kind of want to talk about the doors a little bit because I remember the first time when I was first hearing about it because I hit up. I think I was talking to somebody at Infinity Ward. I'm like, "Can you tell me like some of the new stuff for the game?" He just looks at me and goes, "Doors." And I was
Doors.
like, "What? What?" He's just like, "Doors." And I was like, "All right." But there is a very new feature that's very interesting and provides some kind of wild circumstances within gunfights. Can you talk to me about the changes to doors within Modern Warfare?
Yeah, so early on we put doors in, right, and let players kind of like pause a firefight. We're like, that's kind of cool, but they felt really, really basic. So we started to layer in kind of this experience, these new features. So we have a peek mechanic to let you saw it in the trailer, open a door slightly, throw a tactical in, and then you can melee the door, go in and clear them out. And then we did some breaching, and we're like, okay, what if explosives just open doors? So players can either throw C4, clacker the door open, or they can cook a grenade. And then we had a bunch of players, you know, whining about like, it's affecting the flow of the map. Like, this isn't how the map was built. And so we actually allow you to sprint through doors. So we have this kind of like suite of functionality around doors.
So you can be sneaky, or you can just be loud.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
exactly.
it's actually funny on this map on SD. One of the bomb sites is in this apartment building around the corner, and you can actually stack guys up on a double door. You can put a sniper pretty far back, and either they can do it or you can throw the nade from across the map, and the concussion will open the doors. You can snipe the guy that's probably going to be camping in the back, and everybody can kind of go in, and it's really fun.
I like that a lot. And, of course, we saw Ashton doing a little bit of weapon mounting as well.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of more specific. It isn't necessarily just like leaning.
Yeah, we didn't want the kind of like head glitchy kind of scenarios you get from like a lean anywhere mechanic, right? We didn't want those sliver shots. And so, but we really like the idea of bracing your weapon on surfaces. When we talk to soldiers, that's what they do. You're carrying a big heavy gun, you want to stabilize that gun. Or
Getting tired.
Yeah, those guns are actually, they're pretty heavy.
So, no, there's a perfect example.
Thank you.
Well,
Ashton, you're on point. Thank you, Ashton.
You've been on point. You're going to get to keep your job. You've been good enough that I've been impressed with what you've been able to do, but thank you so much for walking us through the creative class, showing us some of the combat mechanics during the game. Thank you for coming out. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming through.
One more thing we should also point out that is for development for the past 2 years, we've always had this outline around squad mates, and it actually was broken in this build. But it's really important for our teammate awareness, of spatial awareness of where they are. That didn't make this build, but we'll be putting out some 4K footage of gameplay after. It'll be in there. It'll also be in the beta. So.
Like that a lot.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming in, kind of talking high level about some of the great mechanics within Modern Warfare. Anything you want to say, maybe to your coworkers, fans, before you head out? Yeah,
we would like to say that we're lucky enough to be the ones up here kind of presenting this game, but there's a whole studio of people that really put their heart and soul into this game, and it really means a lot to us. So thanks for checking it out, and hopefully everybody has a good time.
Honestly, thank you for joining us as well. The game we played, it's fantastic. Looks brilliant as well. You've done a really good job. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Joe, Jeff, thanks a lot. But guys, before we get further into the show, we have a lot more to show you. Upcoming, we are going to show you the Dark Edition coming for Modern Warfare. Let's take a look.
Joel, you're my favorite person.
Alright guys, I think I'm going to end the live stream there because everything important is pretty much covered. So yeah, so if you guys did enjoy, give a thumbs up, like, hope you enjoyed. This is Marvel Steven, and peace out.